We got 2 new guests. Well, one's new and one's back for another round. We've got Katie Vanover, who's the volunteer coordinator at CASA the Bluegrass, and Casey Atwood, who is the program development coordinator. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
How are y'all?
Welcome.
We're good.
And welcome back.
Yes.
We're glad to have you here. We love having folks from CASA here.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah, because now I feel like we're almost experts at
basically,
it.
we really are. I mean,
Yeah, you guys just explain it. Why are we even here?
But it's a very important service that we offer our children here in the community. So let's talk about, first of all, for those watching, maybe for the first time, tell us a little bit about what CASA is and what they do.
Yeah, so CASA is court-appointed special advocates. What that means is that we have these volunteers that are trained. Casey's going to talk a little bit more about our upcoming pre-service training, but these volunteers are trained to they're trained to advocate for the child in need or children in need. They are quite literally appointed by the family court judge to do so. So it's very important. It takes time to be trained for, to be an advocate, but we are pretty meticulous on our training. We cover a lot of different subjects during that time. We get pretty close as well, and
Yeah, and the CASA volunteer, once they're on that case, one thing that's particularly important about our organization is that we provide consistency to these children who may be in a foster home, they may be in their original home, but the people and situations are constantly changing. But the CASA volunteer, whenever they accept a case that they are already feeling drawn to begin with, they are committing themselves to that case until those children find permanency. So if they're adopted, that could be
each
any
one's different,
amount of time.
right? It could be
Exactly. So they are truly, committing their time and their hearts for these children, no matter what it takes.
Right.
What would happen if you guys didn't have volunteers? I mean, do you know what I mean?
Right. So CASA being a volunteer-based organization, we have to have volunteers. We can't serve on our cases without them. As staff, we aren't serving on cases because it's not a volunteer role. Right. But as far as what would happen to these cases without our program, they would go without this set of eyes and ears for the judge. They would go without this human who has no specific background or goal other than to see that these children have their best interests being met. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you that we have a CASA volunteer on every case that comes before the family court, but that would be hugely incorrect. I would say our program in Franklin County probably services a fifth or a sixth of the total cases that come through. We have a tendency to get on cases that particularly, to be assigned cases that are particularly complicated and heavy and intertwined. We would love nothing more than to have a volunteer for every child and to be able to guarantee that if these children have already went through unspeakable things, they now have this CASA alongside them. And that's why we have trainings that I'll be talking about in a moment. And that's why we are trying to get more involved in our community and are constantly recruiting, because that
spread the word
is always there.
So the children that are in this program, it can range in any age. I mean, from babies to 18.
Correct.
Wow, okay. So if you want to volunteer, do you have, if you think you work better with a teen rather than young, do you have your pick?
So basically once you've gone through the pre-service training, then you have a volunteer coordinator that you can meet with. We kind of usually have some cases that we have in mind because we get to know each other throughout that training period, 30 hours, you get to know one another. And then we kind of show them each case, give them basically a synopsis of each, and then it's up to them which one they want to take and run with.
And some are going to be more involved than others.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And so it's very important for our organization that whenever a volunteer takes a case and is committing themselves to these cases, that it's one that they actually feel drawn to. You're not going to find a case that doesn't have a need, but you advocate best for what you know, and you advocate best for what you care about.
Sure.
So our volunteers are on 1, maybe 2 cases at a time, so they can really put their full effort and focus into those cases. And we can't make any guarantees or any promises of how a case is going to turn out. We can kind of have an idea, perhaps, but almost every time we do that, we are proven wrong.
Sure.
So we talk a lot about that during training to make sure our volunteers are prepared for that.
And obviously, I mean, the training is super important to get them kind of the baseline, but they shouldn't feel like once they're kind of in it that they're just out on their own to figure this out. Like, you guys have constant resources and support
Yes, correct. So we are actually written into Kentucky Revised Statutes, and we also follow national CASA standards. Both of those things require that as a volunteer, you have a staff person kind of assigned to you to make sure, check in, to get advice from, to assist when you need help. So all of our volunteers have at least one staff person, but we're pretty all familiar with each other, that they can rely on if they need to. We also offer continuing education opportunities throughout the year. We have a requirement for continuing education to make sure that our volunteers are staying up to date and kind of current with what's going on.
We want the child to feel supported, but we also want our volunteers that are advocating for said child or children to feel just as supported.
Yeah, because they'll do a better job.
Absolutely.
So if a volunteer is planning to go into a case, what should they expect? I mean, are they spending a certain amount of time with the child, so much time every week, or how does that work?
So what I particularly enjoy about the CASA advocate role is that largely the time commitment is up to you.
Okay.
So past our training requirements and our visit requirements, which is at least one in-person visit a month. Past that, however much time you spend on the case is up to you, how you work, and what the case calls for. So when I was a CASA volunteer prior to being staff, I did much of my visits after work hours or on the weekends. I really made it fit my schedule. So another part of being a coordinator is providing those resources for our volunteers so that if they need help on a home visit, we can be there and help them with that. If they're submitting a court report to us at midnight, we're going to accept that, and because we're helping them work on their time because they're volunteers.
Right.
Okay.
So you're saying you're not 8 to 4:30 every day?
No, that would be
no
far
paycheck.
too plain.
No taxes.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the training and like as that's coming up, right? That we want to talk to people about. But what are sort of the requirements that you want people to kind of make sure they check these boxes before they reach out?
Yeah, so you have to be at least 21 years of age. You have to be able to pass a background check, and then in general, just have a heart for children. So that's the biggest requirement, I would say.
Yeah, there are no requirements. You don't have to have a certain degree or any particular background. We actually invite people with all different backgrounds and experiences because then they can use that when advocating for these children. But past those requirements that Katie stated and get through our training, then anyone can be a CASA volunteer and make a difference.
You don't have to be a parent or have had any experience with a child at all.
I had zero experience with any children when I became a volunteer.
Right.
And the training really does a great job of kind of starting at the basics and getting all the way through most situations that you'll see. And then, again, we have our continuing education to help in those specific scenarios.
And it is, I mean, I guess it's different than being a sort of big brother, big sister or something like that, because you're not really like, you're just trying to be there, right? It's not like you're not leading, showing them specific things how to do. It's just about being a resource and a sort of a steady hand, right?
Right. We do tell our volunteers that this isn't necessarily a mentoring gig.
That was the word I was looking for. Thank you.
However, it is difficult to, be on these cases for months, maybe even years, get to know these children, their families, move from placement to placement, and not have some sort of connection and not have some sort of bond in a way with these kiddos. So while we are not necessarily mentors, but we are there to advocate for them and to show them that, yes, we are here for them. So our volunteers get really creative when interacting with their kiddos and helping prepare them to be successful adults.
Awesome. Okay, so the training is getting going soon, right? Next month?
Yes. So hopefully early February, we will be starting a training session. We'll have one here in Frankfort and also one down in our Danville office. Our program specifically covers from Franklin County down to Boyle, Mercer, and Anderson in the middle. So we try to offer trainings often throughout the year and in multiple locations to meet people where they are. Our training does have to be 30 hours. That's mandated by our standards and by KRS statute, but we try to make that seem as least daunting as possible.
Right, sure. We feed you.
We feed you. I need a meal. We try to spread it out, typically over 8 weeks, but that can look very different depending on the needs of the class. And then there is a 3-hour court observation at the end of training where you get to actually sit in on family court and just observe kind of the process and how these things happen, which can be really beneficial for people who have had zero experience in the court system.
Okay.
A great idea would be if somebody wanted to go do it together with somebody else, right? They could be there for each other, like a friendly face, and then you'd have 2 volunteers maybe.
Yeah, we've had friends do that, and we've also had couples.
Oh, sure.
We'll have some couples within our program
We've
as well.
had several duos over the years, our dynamic duos, and they're fabulous. It's really a great opportunity to kind of be this person, make this difference, but get to do it with your person or someone that you're familiar with. We even have a few couples who kind of started where the other person was primarily just a driver for them, just to get them from places, but oh, hey, what's going on? Oh, here's my 2 cents.
Sure.
So it's a really great opportunity to collaborate. So we always invite people, if there's someone to come through the training with you. Absolutely.
Cool. So if you want to be involved, do you have something else?
No, I'm just in awe.
Yeah. I know. Every time you guys come, it's just so awesome. If you want to get involved, what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you, to learn more about the program and schedule and stuff?
Definitely our social media. So our social media could always use some love. So we have Facebook, we have Instagram. You can find us at CASA of the Bluegrass. Also, if you maybe want to still support CASA, but maybe volunteering, you just don't have the schedule.
Sure.
You're just not able to commit to that right now. You can also support us in other ways. So like you said, through social media, liking us, sharing us, kind of being a quote unquote friend of CASA is what we like to call it. Just again, kind of getting our mission out there, what we're doing, supporting, children. Yeah.
And we are a 501c3.
So you don't turn around, donations are fine.
Nonprofit. We will never turn down a donation.
We love donations.
No. Yes, and you can go onto our website or our social media and find links for all of that information. We also have several events throughout the year, fundraising events to bring awareness, have a good time, and raise some money. So.
Yeah, we recently had a speakeasy soiree actually here in Frankfort. That was really fun. Yeah, everyone really enjoyed themselves. Our Venmo is CASA of the Bluegrass as well. And again, like Casey said, you can find all of that. We have QR codes. We have fun flyers that we post pretty much every other day on our social medias, and our website at casaofthebluegrass.org is very beneficial in finding a lot of information as well.
Yeah, our staff has enjoyed the chili lunches that the Optimists and Kiwanis do, and I think they call it OK for CASA.
Yeah. So it's actually been a couple years since we've had that going through them. But we need to, if you guys have any contacts, we need to get back on with them.
Okay.
But that was always a fun time. And we're always looking for different and unique fundraising opportunities to kind of get the community involved.
Okay.
Awesome. They sometimes have peanut butter sandwiches at those chili lunches. Do you think, are those made with liquid?
They're not made with liquid.
Okay.
They're made with solid peanut butter.
Do you guys, anybody have any hot takes on peanut butter as a liquid? No support for that?
My hot take is that I think peanut butter is disgusting.
Oh,
that's a hot take.
Keep my mouth shut.
Man.
I think it's a solid,
Yeah.
me personally, but it just depends which one you get, because sometimes it's got that oil on the top, so it can be a little bit, so.
You like crunchy or creamy? You have a good preference?
I like both, but honestly, my
place.
husband is the big peanut butter guy, so yeah, we always have 2 to 3 in our cupboard at a time. So Casey, don't come near us.
I saw it was in my sister's fridge. They have because Charlotte's very kind of and they had a fancy. Well, it's just kind of they got all these it's very I don't know what the term is
bougie.
Yes, that's the term. Charlotte is definitely bougie, and they had like a craft peanut butter store that was had all this, and you would just eat it with a spoon, and it would have special additives, and it was healthy for you, and whatever.
Yeah.
But it tasted good.
It did taste good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Craft peanut butter store.
Yes. I tell you, you go to Charlotte, you'll find a craft anything. All right. Well, thanks, guys, so much for coming. Thanks for all the hard work you do.
Thanks for having us.
For this great cause. And you're welcome to come back anytime to talk about stuff that's going on.
Yeah, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming. Come back.